I am genuinely concerned I'm going to smack into Obi-Wan and Anakin one of these days. Hello everyone, Jeremy here. Today I am about to take a look at something different. This is from Star Wars Theory, big fan of his channel. And it is an animated version of What If Order 66 Did Not Happen. I'm really curious on what this is going to look like, as well as how it's going to play out exactly. I think it's all going to be narrated. I don't think I've seen one of these before. So I don't know if he's going to narrate the whole thing or not, but I thought it'd be interesting to find out if we actually agree with his assessment of what would have gone down if Order 66 failed, and how he's going to even address, well, if it failed, like how did it fail? Like they just didn't get all the Jedi or most survived. So I'm very curious on, well, honestly, if I agree.
As we know, Order 66 was the order given by Emperor Palpatine just after the death of Mace Windu, and the transformation of Anakin into Darth Vader. The order was programmed into the clones' heads by way of an inhibitor chip, which controlled their minds to take out the Jedi and serve the Chancellor. The rest of the events that led from this are what we know today. But what if we go into another timeline, an alternate universe, and one that I think makes much more sense in some ways? What if Order 66 failed? Jedi have decades of training, mastering the Force above all else. Their first and foremost abilities were to be able to sense their surroundings and feel any threats, such as when Anakin and Obi-Wan could even feel the Kuhans that attempted to poison Padme. The Jedi not being able to sense the complete 180 turn of the clones, raising their guns at them and firing, would have been enough of a shift in the Force, just as Yoda had felt, in order for them to escape or to have an advantage to fight back harder. The Jedi Temple events, however, would continue to play out the way they did, as Anakin was too powerful for any Jedi in the Temple. He would then go to Mustafar as ordered, while the rest of the clones would continue to take out the Jedi, slowly being killed one by one by more advancing Jedi.
I like this animation.
Plo Koon would still be alive, so would Sakura, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Sindralig, and the list goes on. Of course, not every Jedi would live. The clones were a formidable force. However, the more powerful and more Force-attuned ones would sense the matter immediately. After Anakin was ordered to Mustafar by Palpatine, Yoda would meet Obi-Wan at the raided Jedi Temple, and they would send a beacon out to all of the survivors of Order 66, where we would essentially see almost the entire Jedi Council returning, with the exception of Anakin Skywalker, of course, who is now Darth Vader. We have to remember this doesn't give Palpatine enough time to leave the city, as all of these events took only a few hours at the most to execute. He wouldn't have heard back from the commanders because 1, they'd all be dead, and 2, he'd assumed they were all still carrying out orders. Yoda would send Obi-Wan and Plo Koon to Mustafar to seize and capture Anakin to be tried in the Galactic Court, while he would take Ki-Adi-Mundi, Sindralig, and Aayla Secura to confront the Emperor, while the remaining Jedi would dissipate to hunt down as many clones as they could. After telling Padme about what Anakin has done, he and Plo would sneak onto her ship until they landed on the fiery planet. Yoda and the Masters would fly to the Chancellor's office in Coruscant to once and for all bring an end to the Sith Lord who had been right under their very noses for so many years.
That I definitely agree with already.
As Padme's ship landed, she stepped out to meet Anakin when he looked up to see Obi-Wan and Plo Koon standing in the opening of the ship's extended plank. Their silhouettes almost godlike as the light cast a shadow illuminating their outline, embossed in the red blaze of the red bubbling lava. Anakin yelled at Padme, choking her, until Plo, who was much more quick to stop this than Obi-Wan, jumped in the air and shot Force Judgment onto Anakin. This was Plo's equivalent to Sith Force Lightning. However, not as powerful, it still hurt Anakin enough to stop his attack on Padme. As he let go, she stumbled backwards and ran up to Obi-Wan. This angered Vader even more. The betrayal he felt was compounded only with hatred he couldn't even compare to the heat of the planet's melting core. As he ignited his lightsaber in unison to Obi-Wan and Plo, the battle began. Sidious frowned at Yoda as he watched his royal red guards fall to the floor. Yoda and the 3 Jedi Masters entered his office, all igniting their lightsabers. Palpatine tried to escape, knowing he was no match for 3 Masters and Grand Master Yoda. With no exit strategy, he turned to face them, telling Yoda Your arrogance blinds you, Master Yoda, and ignited his lightsaber. He attempted the same strategy as he had with Mace and his legions of masters, thrusting his saber into Sakura's heart as she laid on the floor motionless. His speed was far too ferocious for them. Yoda jumped off the wall and flipped to block Palpatine's attack on Ki-Adi-Mundi, who went to strike Palpatine's head but missed and got paralyzed by a jolt of Force lightning. As he withered on the floor, Yoda watched as Drelig's head rolled next to him. He was astounded by Palpatine's speed and precision, swinging as fast as he could and blocking just as hard. The two were evenly matched, as Yoda sent Palpatine flying back with a strong Force push, using this time to run to Ki-Adi, who started to regain his consciousness once again. Helping him up, the two Jedi Masters ran towards Sidious. Anakin and Obi-Wan exchanged immense hits while Plo attacked when he could. His lightsaber abilities were amazing, but he was not on the same level as Anakin here. As they continued to fight down the corridor and into the station, Anakin could feel himself being cornered by the two Jedi Masters, Obi-Wan from the left and Plo from the right. Anakin was boxed in. Front flipping over Plo Koon, he landed attempting to strike him. However, he was stopped by Obi-Wan. When Plo used this advantage to shoot the most powerful amount of Force judgment onto Anakin as he possibly could, Skywalker dropped to the ground, shrieking in agony as yellow thunderbolts crawled up his face, body, and bones like spiders with daggers for legs. Kenobi and Koon stepped over him, lightsabers an inch from his skull. They unanimously announced, "In the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you are under arrest." Palpatine had to decide quickly which Jedi he would advance to, as Ki-Adi-Mundi and Yoda rushed him. He knew Yoda was far more powerful, so he decided to take out the weaker opponent first, that being Mundi. This is what Yoda anticipated. Quickly running up to Palpatine and flipping over him, Palpatine became confused and blocked Ki-Adi's attack, then turned to block Yoda's when he was cut in half by the Grand Master. Laying on the floor, unable to move, his fate had taken the same turn of events as his apprentice, Darth Maul. With Obi-Wan and Plo returning to the temple as Anakin sat in the back of the ship, cuffed at the hands and feet, they went to the Chancellor's office as they saw lights flashing from within the windows. Meeting Yoda at the docking bay, he and Ki-Adi boarded the ship to take Padme to a droid crew to deliver her unborn children. Anakin would remain restrained as his yellow eyes stared in hatred at the Jedi Masters who tried to figure out what to do with him. Banishing him from the Council and the Temple, stripping him of his Jedi status, the Galactic Senate appointed Bail Organa as Chancellor and moved to sentence Anakin to spend an eternity in prison once the security footage of the massacres at the Temple, including the slaughter of the younglings, were presented. Padme would survive, and her children, Luke and Leia, would be trained from infancy in the Jedi Temple with Yoda, Obi-Wan, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Plo Koon, and subordinate Jedi who had survived as well. The galaxy would live in peace and harmony, with two new Skywalkers eventually growing up to carry on the Jedi way. Until Anakin would be freed from jail by the hands of Jar Jar. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to do a part 2 where Anakin somehow gets out of jail. The Jar Jar part was of course a joke, but if you'd like to see that, let me know down in the comments
Darth
below.
Jar Jar just
I hope
shows
you
up.
enjoyed this new style of making fan fictions. This is actually an older
really
fan
cool.
fiction, one of my oldest ones, done in December of 2016. So back when the channel wasn't even 4 months old or so. So forgive me if the story is a little bit weird, but you know, it's a relic in time.
Okay, so it's interesting. I didn't realize this was an older story that he'd already written a long time ago, so they just reanimated it. So his opinions may have changed since then, but I'll just give my opinions on what I saw there. A lot of that I feel like rang true. If something was going to go wrong with Order 66, it would have been the Masters feeling the switch in the clones, feeling that tremor in the Force. And maybe it would, that is something that always bothered me about Order 66, is I always felt like not only Yoda would have felt all the Masters dying, especially the raid on the temple. I feel like that would have rippled enough in the Force that the other Masters would have felt it too. But I know that's supposed to be happening at the exact same time, but at the same, but some of it would have had to have occurred just off, you know, a few minutes later. Not every Master was going to be right next to a clone. So it feels like that there could have been, in some cases, even up to an hour or so, or hours. But if they even had a second or two, like we saw in the finale of the Clone Wars, if they had just even a second or two just to process what was going on and feel what was changing, I think what he presented there was very plausible when it came to Order 66 itself. The only parts I think I really struggled with were Ki-Adi-Mundi's power, I don't know if you know what it's called, the yellow lightning. I don't think that's canon. I think that's Legends. So that, and as he said, this is older, so he probably wrote this using some Legends. So that part makes the Anakin part not work as well. But I do like the choice that it was Plo and Obi-Wan going there, because Plo I always felt like he had a bit of a relationship with Anakin in the series. So him, and obviously one with Ahsoka as well, so him coming to aid Obi-Wan to take down Anakin really made sense to me. I mean, the only other person you could pick in that situation is obviously Ahsoka, but as we know, she'd be on, I forgot the name of the ship, but she was dealing with her own situation. Yeah, that was a great choice. Now, I wasn't quite sure about the the Emperor getting arrested scene at first, because I didn't like that Ayla died. I like Ayla. If any of those four were going to go down, Ayla would be probably number one that would go down, especially when compared to Ki-Adi-Mundi and Yoda, who always appeared to be higher ranking and more skilled, even though we barely saw Ki-Adi-Mundi fight, which is weird. But yeah, other than that, and yeah, Anakin going to prison, and then, okay, two things. Anakin going to prison, perfect as far as I'm concerned. I think that is absolutely nailing it. He would, if it was two masters, I don't think they would have to kill him. They might, because I do feel like that lightning was a cheat. So you would probably really need three masters in that situation. Anakin's too powerful. I know Obi-Wan bested him, but that's only because Obi-Wan knows him so well. But I guess then again, you could make the argument that Master Plo does too, because he seemed close with Anakin as well, so their knowledge of him might be what would tip the scales. I'd call that a minor nitpick. Like, I could see it working, but I could also see it going the very different way, where either they have to kill Anakin or Anakin could find a way out of that. But as far as the birth, that got me. If you didn't notice, that got me, because I just love a what if story where Luke and Leia were born and trained by the Jedi. I just love that idea. I love that idea so much. I want to see an entire story on that. Just an entire, being brought up by Yoda, being brought up by Obi-Wan, as well as Padme in the background, of course. Well, not the background, but as well as Padme, of course, where she gets to be mother, but then they would have all these fathers and grandfathers, and Aunt Ahsoka. Yeah, that always touches me if I see anybody mention that. But I mean, seeing it in animation form, which I've never seen, that was. I did have an issue with when he said all the clone commanders would be dead. When he said that, I was like, I don't think they would. Many of the commanders would live, and I think Palpatine would get a heads up, and he probably wouldn't be on Coruscant anymore. So you would have a whole new problem where Palpatine's running. That would be an interesting story. That would be such an interesting story. So anyway, yeah, whatever thoughts or theories you have on this, if you agree with it completely, maybe there were some deviations like I just had that you were thinking of, leave those in the comments below. It'll be a great conversation. No, I am not filming this several hours later. I am going to be streaming Star Wars Squadrons. If you're watching this just a few days after I've recorded, I'm going to start streaming that as of this week, and I'm going to be playing through it, so just check out my Twitch link. It's just one protagonist. It's easy to find, just like the channel. It'll give us a chance to interact over there and talk some Star Wars. So, that's all I wanted to say. Back to the video. So, and as always, if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to see more videos like this one. And before I go, as always, please take care of yourselves, and please take care of each other. Thanks for watching.